We do have breaking news. The Senate Judiciary Committee is about to vote on whether to advance President Trump's Attorney General nominee to a full Senate vote. Republican Senators John Cornyn and Thom Tillis demanded Todd Blanche eliminate President Trump's settlement deal with the IRS to create a so-called anti-weaponization fund. Blanche posted written memos eliminating the deal, clearing the way for Tillis and Cornyn to support him. Now the question is whether that's enough for other senators. ABC News Washington Bureau Managing Editor Catherine Folders is joining me for more on this. We can see that Senator Schiff there is listing some of the reasons why Todd Blanche should not move forward in this process. He said that he's used the DOJ to enrich the president. Catherine, what are lawmakers on the committee saying about Blanche, other lawmakers there, and the controversy over President Trump's IRS settlement? That's a big topic here.
Yeah, it is. And you are hearing, obviously, similar aspects of this from Democrats on the committee. Adam Schiff right there, who's speaking. I believe he will be the last person to speak before the vote happens. But, of course, we've heard from Democrats who obviously are critical of Blanche becoming the Attorney General of the United States, of course, if he's voted through in the full Senate, because he is Trump's former personal attorney. We have heard about the weaponization of the Justice Department, as some of these senators are saying here. So that is what we will continue to hear, from them throughout this process and, of course, into the administration. Now, Republicans, on the other hand, especially Cornyn and Tillis, we heard from them. They spoke. They said that they are satisfied, frankly, with what Blanche released yesterday in terms of at least one signed statement saying that the weaponization fund would be disbanded. But I think the big question here is, do these Republicans who have problems with this actually trust that January 6ers, for example, won't be paid through other mechanisms?
And Catherine, the vote appears to be happening, so we're going to take a moment to listen in.
Mrs. Moody. Aye. Ms. Graham. Aye. Mr. Durbin.
No.
Mr. Whitehouse.
No by proxy.
Ms. Klobuchar.
No.
Mr. Coons.
No.
Mr. Blumenthal.
No.
Ms. Hirono. Mr. Booker.
No.
Mr. Padilla.
No.
Mr. Welch.
No.
Mr. Schiff.
No.
Chairman Grassley.
Aye.
On this vote, the ayes are 12, the nays are 10.
The nomination will be favorably reported. Before we adjourn, I have some letters I want to put in the record from, well, I'm not going to bother to read it. It's not worth reading at this point. The meeting's adjourned.
And ABC News legal contributor James Sample is joining us now. We just heard the lawmakers there taking that vote. And James, as you know, Blanche rescinded the order to establish the president's so-called anti-weaponization fund in order to gain the votes of Senators Cornyn and Tillis. But you say that agreement isn't legally binding. So what would it take for that fund to come back in some sort of form?
There are really a couple of different ways it could come back, Stephanie. One, it could come back by a simple reversal on the part of Todd Blanche, as soon as he gets confirmed by the full Senate, assuming that happens now that he's been confirmed by the Judiciary Committee. It's clear that his decision to issue those statements late on Sunday night was successful in securing the votes of Senators Tillis and Cornyn. That gets him over a significant hurdle, an obstacle that had been in his way. That will at least get him through to a full vote before the Senate as early as this week. But to be clear, because those documents were not filed with a court, they aren't binding in any way, they're essentially written promises that he could turn around and break. The other way that the payments could come back is that individual plaintiffs are still free to pursue claims against the government. And that includes the January 6th rioters. It includes the individuals who were convicted and or pled guilty to beating Capitol police officers. All of those individuals are still able to pursue claims. This just takes away the separate fund that would have streamlined that process for them. And then, of course, there's the possibility, though I think it's a more far-fetched possibility, that Congress would take up legislation that would specifically authorize the fund. I think that that would be so politically toxic that it's hard to imagine. But to be clear, nothing in the modification of the weaponization fund prevents it from coming back to life like Lazarus.
I see. And Catherine, we heard the votes taking place there. We heard that live. Todd Blanche officially confirmed by the Judiciary Committee, advancing to the full Senate possibly this week. But Catherine, Blanche's handling of the Epstein files release is also under scrutiny, in addition to this so-called weaponization fund. Does he have enough support for a full Senate vote?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, he probably does. You mentioned the Epstein files. Obviously, we're here talking about the weaponization fund, which was the big hang-up. But he does still have other problems with the full Senate. He can only afford to lose 2 Republicans, especially with Mitch McConnell out, for example, and not voting. And there are still Republicans who at least appear to be on the fence or haven't said how they're voting. Now, who am I thinking of there? Senator Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Bill Cassidy, for example, who has remained a little quiet on this. He has a different problem here. He has been bringing up the general weaponization of the Justice Department, if you will, and grand juries that have been impaneled for various different investigations. So that's something, obviously, that we will ask him about. So he still does have a challenge with the full Senate. He will likely get through, but that doesn't mean it's going to be smooth sailing between now and presumably Saturday night is when that full vote for Blanche, at this point at least, will likely be.
We'll see. And James, Blanche has been serving as acting AG for months. So what changes, if anything, if he's confirmed as Attorney General?
It's a really good question, Stephanie, and I think that the answer is the semantics change. His title changes, but the reality, and one of the things that has sort of been underneath this entire saga about whether or not he would get through the Judiciary Committee and then eventually through the entire Senate, is that because of the way that the Federal Vacancy Reform Act works and because of the way that it interplays with statutes that are specific to the Deputy Attorney General, because he had already been confirmed as the Deputy Attorney General, there were essentially 2 different paths that would have allowed him to continue serving as an acting Attorney General, potentially for as long as President Trump is in office. So technically speaking, what changes is the title. Practically speaking, what changes is very little.
All right. Well, he has passed this hurdle. We'll see what happens toward the end of the week at the full Senate. All right, Catherine and James, thank you so much.